He's never fought us. Not us united.
My favorite moment in the entire... Maybe I should complicate this before I start speaking here. Welcome to Comics League. I'm Jared, and today I have a viewer suggestion video that we're going to do. Thanks, Brown Destroyer, for recommending I do a story recommendations and reading order for each of the members of the Justice League. So what I did is I went to my graphic novel shelf, and I took a selection of stories that, if you want to basically understand these characters, here's the stories and runs that you need to that you need to read in order to understand these characters. So I'm going to start with Justice League in general. So there are two runs that I highly recommend. Number one is the Grant Morrison Justice League run. And this really established a lot of the team dynamics that we enjoy today. It established really the classic lineup of the Justice League, because at the time, this is post-Superman coming back to life, hence the mullet. But what it did was, this was Grant Morrison going, why does the Justice League suck? Why aren't like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, the characters people care about on the Justice League? So he took over the run and created this. And this is like one of the greatest runs in Justice League history. And then the second one is the one that I gotta recommend because it's what got me into comics, is the Jeff Johns Justice League run. I have this because I don't have the omnibus yet. But it starts here. It goes Justice League Origin, Justice League, The Villain's Journey, Throne of Atlantis, Trinity War, Grid, Forever Heroes, Forever Evil, and Darkseid War, and Injustice League. It's basically just go on to Amazon, plug in Jeff Johns Justice League, and just go off of this. But what this is special, because this was the first book when DC relaunched the New 52, and what this meant was you don't have to read it and to have any prior knowledge in order to read this book and enjoy it. You can, and it kind of helps, like, basically a lot of Batman. But this really established a lot of the lore that we take for granted today. And if you're a fan of the Snyderverse, this is what a lot of the ideas in the Snyderverse is based off of, from Darkseid invading this lineup of the Justice League, except for Green Lantern. But pretty much besides that it's that lineup from Justice League. So that's that. Next, I'm going to start with this out-of-continuity story called Last Ride. This is an Elseworld story where the Justice League has disbanded because of a battle that went horribly wrong. They're forced to come together right now to escort Lobo to a tribunal to face trial for his crimes. And it's got fantastic art. It's written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Miguel Mendonca. I apologize if I mispronounced your name, but it's really good. So Justice League Last Ride. So now I'm going to start with Aquaman. Now there are two different ways you can go with Aquaman. You can either go with the Jeff Johns run, which I more than like, which I will forever go up and down saying that will make you care about Aquaman, and it is right here. I'm just trying to make sure my books don't fall over, but it's this book right here. It's the omnibus for Jeff Johns. And this is actually on Amazon for like $40, so it's like really cheap. Or you could go with the Rebirth run by Dan Abnett, which was really good. What I like about Aquaman is that he's basically Game of Thrones, but DC. You have a lot of king stuff. It's basically a lot of sword and sorcery, but underwater. And Aquaman, despite what people will tell you, despite what people wanted you to believe beforehand, before the Snyderverse, is a badass in this and New 52. Next, I'm going to go with Batman. Really, the best Batman books besides Nightfall and stuff is Hush by Jeff Loeb with art by Jim Lee. And it's like, yeah, right there. You got Jim Lee's art drawing Batman, and it really shows that like Batman can have his own book, because that's what this was kind of a return to, because previously he was just a Justice League member and he'd be like skulking in the shadows. But it's like you get all this dynamic art by Jim Lee. You get his version of like Killer Croc and Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. It's really, really, really cool. Next, for Superman, there's one book that I would recommend if you were ever wanting to understand who Superman is. Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman. That's it. That's what I would really recommend in terms of this is who Superman is. Now, if you like the Snyderverse rendition of Superman, go with any New 52 Superman and or Action Comics book, which would be like, I would say the storyline would be like Superman, Man of Tomorrow and such. And that's really where I would go for if you like that type of Superman. Also, Superman and Wonder Woman by Charles Soule and Tony Daniel. I'll get that book real quick because, all right, I got another book, but because this gives you a good like window into who Superman and Wonder Woman is, in that it basically goes off of how they approach a relationship, because Superman is used to being like secretive and keeping a part of himself hidden because he's Superman and Clark Kent. Diana's not used to that. She doesn't do the secret identity thing. So what's cool about this is that they have to learn. Wonder Woman learns that sometimes you do want to keep things separate and special, and Superman learns to be more open and honest with himself. And then this series went on for like a long time. But what I would do Volume 1, Power Couple. Volume 2, that's called Doom, which is basically the tie-in issues for Superman Doom, where Superman became Doomsday. That was their version of like the death of Superman. And Volume 3, which would be, I'm trying to get the thing about it, which is Casualties of War. That's it. Stop there, because at that point it went downhill really fast because Peter J. Tomasi came in and DC Editorial were listening to a bunch of vocal minority DC fans that wanted Superman to always be with Lois Lane and never anything else. And that's the factor there. So Superman, Wonder Woman, I would recommend pick up Volume 1, see if you like it. Also in this, there's a fantastic exchange with Batman, where Batman basically explains why Lois Lane is not essential. Because he says, Clark, there's a reason why of all the Justice League members, I've always felt comfortable working with you. And that is because you were raised on Earth. You were raised by John and Martha Kent. You'll always see mankind as your home team. Not the way you see it. You're just a man who can do amazing things. That's it. You're not an alien. You're an Earthling that has all these powers. And that's a fantastic summation of why when people say he needs Lois Lane to ground him. No, he doesn't, because this proves it. Then this is an Elseworld story that I very much enjoyed. Crime Syndicate. Now, what's the Crime Syndicate? They come from Earth 3, where the good guys are bad and the bad guys are good. In other words, everyone's moralities are flipped. Like Superman's a pervert a-hole. Wonder Woman's more aggressive. Green Lantern's run by fear. And the Flash is a junkie. And there's so much to get into this. This is the new series by Andy Schmidt and Kieran McEwen and Brian Hitch. It's really good. Next is Green Lantern. And there's literally one thing that I would recommend for Green Lantern. That's any book in the Jeff Johns run. And you can find like Green Lantern Rebirth is part of this. The book that says Rebirth, not with the Rebirth logo. Or Sinestro Corps War, Blackest Night, Rise of the Third Army. Basically anything that has Jeff Johns and Green Lantern on it, pick up. Because for one thing, you can pick up this omnibus and not have any prior knowledge about Green Lanterns. And it will explain to you and get you caught up really easily and really easy to understand. That's it. This omnibus is all you need. Now you can pick up all three of them, but I'm just saying if you want to understand Green Lantern, this pretty much. And then Wonder Woman, I would in terms of Wonder Woman, there are many different storylines, and I kind of went over this in my last Under Two Capes episodes, but I would go with, if you want the new 52 younger, more aggressive Wonder Woman, go with Blood. That's pretty much it. or go with the George Perez run. You want to go with the George Perez one is where it really established like she's a member of the Greek pantheon and such. In other words, what the Wonder Woman movie was primarily based on. And then you also have The Circle by Gail Simone. Gail Simone had fantastic Wonder Woman comics during her time. And then the other writer that I would recommend for any Wonder Woman work is Greg Rucka. This guy spent so long with Wonder Woman. He even did the Wonder Woman Rebirth series, which I would also recommend, which was him and like Liam Sharp, where they were talking about Wonder Woman having kind of an identity crisis where she was having overlapping memories of like her time in the New 52 and then the pre-New 52 memories. So definitely go with that. And in terms of Flash, again, just go with Flash by Jeff Johns, because that's where it really establishes, like, okay, Barry Allen comes back and actually Mark Waid or Jeff Johns. Either of those are fantastic, because then you have like, then you essentially have like all the stuff that we know from like the Flash from Justice League and such. And also you could go with the Francis Manapul run from the New 52. And I believe, I forget exactly what it's called. Actually, it's called, I have the trade over here. It's called Move Forward, and it's written by Francis Manapul with some art by Brian Bucarello. And first off, Manapul's art is fantastic. I love the way that guy does colors, and he does everything so well. Additionally, you also have the Joshua Williamson run in Rebirth. Just pick up the first trade in Rebirth and just read on. That's the best. Now, honorable mentions, I would say, is Batman 3 Jokers by Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok. First off, Jason Fabok drawing anything DC is a treat, so enjoy that, definitely. DC vs. Vampires by James Tynion IV, always great. Injustice, obviously, by Tom Taylor, which is a story where Lois Lane is killed by Superman, and Superman becomes a dictator. It's really dope. For Black Adam, I would go with his 52 series, which is called The Rise and Fall of an Empire. You can actually get a box set on Amazon that has like the entire, essentially all the books that are the basis for the movie. I'm just pulling it up, and it looks like this. And it has Black Rain, Black Adam, Black Rain by Jeff Johns, Rise and Fall of an Empire by, let me see, who wrote Rise and Fall of an Empire? I think there were many different writers that did this storyline. It's really good. So you see Black Adam and Adrian Tomas and all that. By Jeff Johns, Grant Morrison, Greg Rucka, and Mark Waid. And then you also have the New 52 Shazam series right here, which is the basis for the Shazam movie. So if you like the Shazam movie and want to see the comic book origin, I would go with that. In terms of Martian Manhunter and Cyborg, they don't really have that many. I haven't read a lot any of their stuff. The only time I've ever read Cyborg and Martian Manhunter is in the Justice League book. So that's pretty much where that goes. Green Arrow, I would recommend anything in the Rebirth run, because those ones are really like are really the ones where they reestablish a lot of stuff, like his relationship with Black Canary and such. Or I would go with Green Lantern and Green Arrow, Hard Traveling Heroes, where it's just a Green Lantern and Green Arrow traveling around the United States, solving social issues and such, if that's your thing. And another honorable mention, I would say, is Flashpoint Beyond, because if you like Flashpoint, for one thing, because that movie's coming out, and then Flashpoint Beyond is the sequel where the universe where that was supposed to be destroyed, the Flashpoint universe, survives, and it's a mystery with Thomas Wayne trying to solve that mystery on how the universe survived. And in terms of, I think that's where, actually, one more for Batman story, Tower of Babel, where it establishes the contingency plans that Batman has in case any Justice League member turns evil or gets mind control or such. So those are like, if you want to get into any of the Justice League members, those are where I would start. Now, obviously, drop in the comments if you have any other characters that you want to get a reading order for, a character or a recommended reading list. And I may put that on in like a document and like put the link to the Google Doc or something like that, and like have a running tally that's like my recommended reading for that month or period, and that way you guys can have like a document you can go to if you guys like that. Or I can just keep doing these streams. Either one, these episodes, either one works with me. So thank you to Brown Destroyer for recommending the topic. I hope that this was helpful. And if you guys have any other readings that to understand the Justice League, this is what you have to read. Drop it in the comments, and I'll be sure I'll be sure to comment and like and stuff. And yeah, stay heroic, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.